that Australia is supporting the mass migration strategy after COVID? Despite Scott Morrison's desire to relaunch soon and Anthony Albanese's presence on the board, the epidemic has rocked large parts of Australia. Global mass immigration is the only policy that can advance Australia's gross domestic product (GDP) growth model. This year's budget is as strenuous as last year's. Watch the video till the end to get complete information, and don't forget to like, share and subscribe to the video. Warm welcome from Brain Drain Consultants to our immigration information and news channel A2Z Immigration Updates. Here are some of the most often questions asked by individuals who want to immigrate to Australia. What about the COVID quarantine and vaccination programs, which were rigged by a jury? What happened to the 35,000 Australians who have stuck offshore and the rest who were imprisoned on land? Uncertainty among voters and a tense atmosphere? Struggling infrastructure and sky-high house prices? Morrison's response is essential. Tell someone who cares. How is he able to achieve that? He does, after all, sit atop a bipartisan sphere of power that favors mass immigration. This list of self-reinforcing people is a long one. The Liberal Party, Labour, and the Greens, Treasury and Reserve Bank, state and local governments, big business and property developers, the immigration lobby, left, and right, media, academics, unions, and churches, are usually included. Mass immigration makes them feel or appear better, and it increases their power or money. Christina Keneally, a Labour frontbencher, momentarily went missing before the last budget. She argued for a reduction in post-COVID immigration levels. She was quickly rendered ineffective. Labour is more comfortable in a reductionist or left-modernist paradigm these days. They would be disrespectful and maybe racist if they raised objections to mass immigration. Since the last budget, Philip Lowe, the Reserve Bank's pro-migration spokesman, has wiggled. Economist Ross Garnott, along with writer Ross Gittins and a few others, is said to have shifted to a pro-lower migration stance. Nonetheless, the Palace Revolution, see New Zealand's new population policy, appears to be a long way off. Australia's population strategy is buried deep in budget paper number 3 as is customary. The government and opposition can both claim that these are merely technical parameters. But, as the Treasury Secretary has sugarcoated, they are essentially Morrison's political must-have. The previous budget had net migration rocketing back to 201,000 by 2023 and 24, implying population growth of 1.2%. This budget isn't budging. This budget isn't going anywhere. And, at 235,000, net migration for 2024 and 25 is substantially greater. By brawny Australian standards, 1.2% and increasing is no big deal. It's still more than double the average for OECD countries. They have no intention of following Australia's economically and environmentally disastrous Ponzi scheme. The Treasurer's speech and 60-page budget overview included no mention of mass immigration, which he sees as a critical economic or industry policy issue. He knows the circle of influence welcomes this evasion. They all implore us to look beyond the slightly overstate levels of heavy spending. Albanese's budget response avoids the topic of the population for the second year in a row. He is a strong advocate for increasing wages and productivity, although widespread immigration depresses both. The population is a major issue, especially in the aftermath of COVID, on which the general public should have a say. It's a private business for these two leaders. Net migration of 200,000 and rising is still considered normal and necessary. However, 200,000 net migration has never occurred before 2007, and it is more than double the long-term average for Australia. In comparison to other OECD countries, it would restore us to a state of extreme immigration dependency. Productivity increase in the 21st century is difficult to achieve due to extremely severe headwinds. Australia, on the other hand, stimulates economic growth by increasing its population indefinitely. Treasury says that mass immigration is necessary to achieve their 2.25% real growth target in 2023 and 24. If you factor in high educational and income inequalities, an overcommitment on the environment, and undercommitment on climate, can we still afford to aspire to Treasury Model 3% growth? Couldn't we keep immigration lower, in favor of genuine industry and training policy? Couldn't we humbly sequester a bit more of that mind-boggling miner's loot to cover off the deficit days? Leaders in Australia rewrite reality in favour of regressive population and energy policies. I half expect them to bring back the baby bonus as they worry about declining fertility. While Frydenberg repeats himself, generous, sustainable migration is essential to Australia's economy. In this story, mostly talented migrants willingly start firms and expand employment, playing a very vital role across the economy. In actuality, temporary and student visas overwhelmed permanent and skilled visas in net migration intakes shortly before COVID. Even among skilled visas, scarce talents were not prioritized, and employment prospects were poor. Expect similar voter deceptions when mass immigration starts, if the latest parliamentary Leeser report on skilled migration is any indication. Frydenberg plans to reduce unemployment to 4.5% and end wage stagnation at the same time as high immigration and 2.25% growth. Frydenberg can very much say whatever he wants when it comes to immigration and jobs. There is no easy path for voter concerns unless the circle of power is severely fractured. Indeed, resuming mass immigration would allow the coalition to use their best lie of all, superior economic management, to attack a dormant Labour Party. However, as the mandatory halt to mass immigration has shown, the economy and employment can survive. Despite this, the Treasury Secretary engages in overt political barracking, evoking fears of a smaller and older Australia unless we agree to a big Australia. Little migration was a relatively effective, clinical study, according to the boss. That is, huge Australia appears to be impenetrable to proof and immobile. With Labour unwilling to change tack, even if it gave them a chance to govern, only COVID itself can shut down the game.
We hope that you will like our efforts to provide accurate information to you, and you will definitely like, share, and subscribe to our channel. And of course, don't forget to press the bell icon. Thanks for watching. See you again with another video.